Little disclaimer before we begin today. I have a toothache. It hurts, like a lot, but the show must go on. I have a schedule to keep, so if I sound like winded or tired, well, you can just blame my mouth. But without further ado, a lot has happened on Azeroth since the beginning of the world of Warcraft. The factions, the Alliance and Horde, have found footing in their respective claims and put down the local threats, jeopardizing their infant territories. On top of that, Ragnaros returned from the Firelands and was beaten by a random group of adventurers. Nefarian was then killed atop Blackrock Mountain, and his sister-kin Onyxia met a similar fate at the hands of the missing King Varian Rin after his return from captivity. Akar the Soulflare was slain not long after. Cthulhu was pushed back into his prison by a coalition of heroes from all sides, and the Argent Dawn successfully managed to drive away Naxxramas and defeat, but not destroy, the infamous Lich Kel'thuzad. So a lot has happened, and at long last, there seems to be a resemblance of peace. The problems of the world have gone from global to local. All has calmed, all's quiet on the Azerothian front. In fact, the only real threat to the world at the time was itself. But like with all things, a relative return to peace is not bound to last. The franchise is called Warcraft, after all, and you can't have Warcraft without, well, war. So conflict, suffering, and death were all inevitable. But instead of a local threat causing problems, instead of the undead, the minions of the old gods, or dragons in need of slaying, this new threat came from, and was, out of this world. Literally, over the skies of northern Kalimdor, a falling star lit up the sky as it toppled toward the ground. But it was no star, nor was it a sign of Lune or an omen from the gods above. It instead was a ship. We know it as the Exodar, but at the time, it was an unknown entity arriving on a world that doesn't take too kindly to global invasions. To Azeroth, the Exodar was nothing more than a potential threat to replace the likes of Cthulhu or Ragnaros. And so, when the ship crashed just off the coast of Darkshore, the Alliance launched an expedition to locate, study, and possibly eradicate whatever just hit the Earth. But instead of finding a great new evil, this expedition discovered a race that would come to be known to us as the Draenei, meaning exiled ones in their own tongue. The Draenei are a rogue group of Eredar who chose to deny the gift bestowed upon their kind by the Burning Legion and have been paying for it ever since. But the arrival of these new aliens is not all that has taken place on Azeroth. In the far east, the Quel'Dorei, or the Sindori, as they've come to be known as, have regained their foothold in northern Lordaeron, but troubles still plague their tattered homeland. The Scourge, the forest trolls of Zol-Amon, and their ongoing struggles to maintain their addiction to magic have all led to the dwindling Blood Elves seeking the aid of an outside source. Elven diplomats are sent to the Alliance, as well as the Horde, but just like the Draenei, who truly knows where their allegiances will lie? But what we do know is that the Blood Elves and the Draenei are not the only changes to Azeroth's political landscape. Because you see, far to the south, in a blasted hellscape where few dare travel, a portal turns green. The infamous Dark Portal, the very thing binding Azeroth to the orc homeworld of Draenor, has been reignited by one Lord Kazak, a Doom Lord in service to the Burning Legion. Using an artifact of unknown origin, Kazak ignited the green and set in motion the Legion's third attempt at gaining a foothold on Azeroth. But their attempt would not go unnoticed. For you see, the Argent Dawn, a faction of those devoted to defending Azeroth, launched a campaign to capture and hold the Dark Portal from the demons, recruiting those of brave heart and great power from both the Alliance and Horde to aid in their efforts. In what would come to be known as the Battle for the Dark Portal, waves of demons poured through from the passageway to Draenor and were met with the stiff resistance of a united Azeroth. And while the forces of Azeroth did suffer some casualties, armies, they did manage to successfully hold off the demons, pushing the Legion back through the portal and handing Sargeras' armies its first defeat since the Third War. Or was it? Was the Legion truly defeated that day? Because it seems to me that the Legion gave up far too easily. I mean, we never saw their full might as we did in Warcraft 3 or during Legion almost 8 years after the Burning Crusade. So I mean, maybe, just maybe, the attack on the Dark Portal wasn't so much an attempt at conquering Azeroth, but to do something else. Maybe the battle was scripted. Maybe it was done so to bring Azeroth's greatest heroes to Draenor in an attempt to pit two of the biggest thorns in Sargeras' side against one another. After all, Kil'jaeden, a man known for his tricks and traps, has personally taken to overseeing the campaign on Draenor, but I mean, who can really say for sure? Only time will tell what is true and what is not. Or, well, perhaps in this case, only a retelling of time will tell what is true and what is not. If you have any questions or comments about this video, Warcraft, or its lore, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching, and remember well.